All right. Hi, everyone. I am Christy Hughes. I am the Director of Alumni Relations, and this is our monthly Coaches Corner. This time we are featuring Barry Gulley. Did I say your name right, Barry?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good. And we're going to discuss golf tonight. I also want to let everyone know that we are also live on Facebook. So for those of our alumni who aren't able to join us, they can take a look and watch us through our live feed. So Barry, I'm going to toss it over to you. Tell us who you are, your outlook on the team, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining me this evening. I really appreciate it. Barry Gulley, I'm the new head men's and women's golf coach here at Hanover College. Come to Hanover by way of Indiana University Kokomo. I spent about 2.5 years there as the head of men's and women's golf there. Prior to that, I was at Taylor University as an assistant coach, as well as Earlham College as an assistant coach. Prior to those two positions, I was the head boys and girls golf coach at Heritage Christian High School in Indianapolis. So I've been coaching for quite a while, moving up the ranks. Before that, I got into the golf industry on the equipment sales side of things, initially with Dick's Sporting Goods, and then kind of worked my way into working as a staff at two of the more premier private clubs in Hamilton County, the Hawthorns and Sagamore Club. Worked my way up to an assistant pro position at the Hawthorns and staff on ping, playing staff on ping. And then along the way, I started doing lessons as well. So I've been doing private instruction for about 5 or 6 years altogether. Do a little bit of club fitting for ping as well, traveling around the state and different events. So yeah, so that's a pretty brief background on me. Jumping into this season, this fall season, the wheels were kind of turning already on the season. I had actually spent about a month with my team at IU Kokomo when the position at Hanover came open. And it was a tough decision for me. It was a position that I loved at IU Kokomo. It was a part-time position though, and I really wanted to be coaching full-time. I brought in quite a few players over the couple of years that I was there, and had a really good thing going. But it just became apparent that they weren't going to make the position full time anytime in the near future. And I really wanted to be somewhere where I could set some roots and build something great. Had a few offers from some other institutions and turned them down. And once I met with Lynn and got down on campus and just kind of saw the potential there. And I know what Hanover's all about academically and athletically. I've had friends that have gone there and played football and graduated, and it just seemed like a great fit. It seemed like the right fit for me at the right time, and I couldn't be more excited about it, honestly. I guess open it up to questions, Christy, or
that would be fine. If anybody has any questions, just unmute yourself and ask away.
Hey Barry, what kind of scores these kids shooting these days?
That the group I got, which side, men's or women's?
Men's. I got a junior looking
okay.
Junior in high school, so we need to figure out what scores we got going here.
It's obviously, every tournament's different. It's you got the weather, the course, to deal with, and the things that the guys are dealing with their own swings and mental game at any given time. But our team, we got 2 guys that are capable of being in the low 70s all the time and even flirting with the high 60s. But primarily, we're kind of in that high 70s, low to mid 80s range right now on the men's side. We're not very deep on the men's side. We have really about 5 right now that are in contention. And so that, that's one of my goals, is to really up the recruiting and get the numbers up a little bit so that we can have a little bit more competition and be a little bit deeper. Because, I've found that even if you preach against it and try to stop it from happening, when you only got 5 guys for 5 spots, complacency can set in sometimes, and they just kind of go through the motions. So for me, it's, it's very important to get those numbers up and to really ratchet up the competition a little bit on the team. I think it makes everybody better in the end, as long as it's good, healthy competition. It's the best
How
thing.
many players do you want to carry?
I think 10 to 12 is a good number overall. I think it's anything beyond that's not really doable, and it's not fair to the players. It's when we host events, if you have 10 to 12, ideally you could have an A and a B squad, and some of the less expensive tournaments, you could probably take an A and a B squad too as well. So, that's kind of the perfect number for that as far as that goes.
Mhm.
And again, that lends itself to that competition. The more we have, the more guys are kind of looking over their shoulder saying, well, I gotta put in some work and make sure I'm getting better every day. And that's something I preach all the time to the players.
Thanks.
I wanted to say that, hi, I'm Lynn Hall. I'm the athletic director. I'm going to be eating my dinner a little bit, so I'll turn my picture off when I do that. But I wanted to say that Barry really got a late start for us this year. So he kind of started behind the 8 ball a little bit because our former coach didn't retire until towards the end of August, and we had to hurry up and advertise, and we're able to find Barry, but he didn't really start till after September got going and after classes had started. So he just jumped in with both feet and has not really stopped. So I look for things like having 10 or 12 guys and 10 or 12 women on the team, because recruiting is key for this. And he really hasn't had a chance to acclimate as well as I would have hoped. And so it'll happen, but having both teams is also a challenge. The schedule, I mean, you play on weekends, and the women may go one place and the men may go another. And I just saw Dana pop on. Dana is an assistant coach with us, and she has another full-time job. So she's a former golfer for the Panthers, and so we're just kind of getting reestablished, I would say, with golf. And yeah, and give Barry a little bit of time to kind of get going, get entrenched, and get going. So, and I am going to call you out, Matt Brown, because I typed that I thought Matt was spying on us, but Matt was coaching at Earlham earlier this fall, coaching golf. Matt's an alum, 83, right?
Correct.
And Hanover alum. And so I'm seeing him on here and I'm like, wait a minute, you're spying on us. But he just typed that he retired from coaching golf at Earlham now, staying with teaching, but retiring from golf. So, but it was good to see you earlier this fall. All right, I've hijacked this enough. I'll let you guys do your thing.
All right. Thanks, Lynn. No, I would say to Lynn's point, it was kind of hit the ground running, and jumping right into the frying pan basically. But, it's the one thing I can say is, and it's kind of what I figured would happen. There's been nothing but support and encouragement at Hanover. And it's kind of what I expected at an institution like that. I mean, everywhere I've been on campus, starting with, my home base there in athletics, but over in admissions, or, whether it's the bookstore or wherever, everybody's been so encouraging. Most people knew me before I even met them, and had, kind words to say and greet me and, say welcome to Hanover. And so it's been fabulous as far as that goes. Obviously jumping into a situation like that, it's, any kind of transition and changes is difficult. But it makes it a heck of a lot easier when you have good people around you and people that care and are invested and want to see you, do well. I do feel lucky, Dana's here, she helped out tremendously this fall as well. It was great to have somebody like that to lean on, and a former player, and, she's never coached before. So, I think that's a relationship I'm looking forward to, fostering moving forward, helping her kind of see where she wants to go with that, and helping her, become a better and better coach, every season. And she definitely has it in her. She has a love for the game, a love for the players. And honestly, that's all you can ask for. That's what coaching is. It's a love of people and wanting to help them grow and achieve their goals and become better. So she definitely helped out a lot. So thank you, Dana. And Matt, I was just happy to see you. I didn't think you were spying on us.
Yeah, that was, and for everyone else, it was such a crazy fall that we had 4 teams in our conference this year that lost their coaches after the season started. Of course, Earlham and Hanover being 2 of those. And evidently I was the only faculty member that had played college golf. Yeah. So I got assigned that role for the fall season at Earlham, but I've had the opportunity to know Barry and work with Barry for quite a while, and was just absolutely thrilled when found out that he got the position at Hanover. So I was just kind of curious to hear, Barry, some of your thoughts on some of the differences of coming from an NAIA school going to Division III.
Right. Well, obviously the biggest difference is, I had a little bit of scholarship money at the NAIA level that I could give out to players. When you go to Division III, that's not the case. Being at a state school like IUK, tuition's a little bit lower as well. But for me, it's, the focus is on fit, right? So when I was at IUK, I tried to find players that wanted to be at IUK or an IUK type school, right? So it's the fit for them. It wasn't necessarily me trying to force a kid to come play for me because I wanted them to play for me. So it's the same kind of thing at Hanover. I want to find players that truly want to be at Hanover first and foremost. It's a good fit for them academically and for them as a person. And then B, I had a recruit just the other day that was talking to her and her parents about this. And, it's gotta be the top thing is that they truly want to be at Hanover. Hanover is the place for them. Then secondarily, if they like me and the parents can see handing their child off to me for 4 years to coach and they fit into our program and our culture and then that's the rest of the story. But so it's not a huge change really. I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities actually. The NAI school, you still have to provide that balance, between sport and school and sometimes work and just life in general. Same thing at Hanover. I mean, you get the higher level schools where, Division I players, a lot of those players, that is their vocational training, right? Playing golf, a lot of them have their sights on playing on PGA Tour, some of the minor tours. At our level, it's, we have to allow time for our players to, get their studying done because that's their vocational, training and they have internships and they have side jobs they got to work. So I think it's a similarity, but I think it's the biggest challenge on this level is to provide that balance for them, scheduling wise with practice. We got to maximize our time out on the course because we don't get a lot of time, and prepare them and make sure that we're giving them the opportunity to get better and succeed on the golf course, but not taking away time from the classroom or, the vocational training that they're involved in as well. So. Dan, you say is it your son that's a junior right now?
Yeah, he's at Mason up in Cincinnati.
Okay. All right. Have him get in touch with me.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, can't miss an opportunity. Can't miss out on opportunity, right? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
That's Drew
Good,
Vaughn.
good.
You'll hear from him.
Right.
Pretty.
What's your name?
Drew.
Drew.
Drew. Nice to meet you, Drew.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Massive, large high school in Cincinnati. So
Right.
very,
Who's the
very
coach there?
competitive. Tim Lambert's varsity A.
He's an instructor as well, right? I think
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, that's a great program. That's a great high school program.
they have 3 coaches. Yeah.
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 It's a great program he's coming from for sure. Dana, you have anything you want to say? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh, geez, coach. Okay. I
Have you
will,
share the spotlight here?
I will say it's very different seeing it from the other side. Going from a recent graduate of Hanover, going through many different coaches and seeing their different personalities, and then you see it from the other side and it's totally different aspect. A lot of the girls were just like, hey, so are you actually gonna do it? Like are you actually gonna be my coach? Like I said, well, at that point I was like, well, I'm thinking about it. And then I think that little bit of time before Coach Gulley stepped in, I was sort of like the stand-in head coach trying to see, how this is just putting cords into buttons and trying to figure out how everything is going to work. And I was talking to Lynn before Barry stepped up, and she's like, well, we got a new coach. He's supposed to come in on Monday on campus and said, feel that, try to see where everything goes. And I said, please be a good coach. Please be a good coach. Please be a good coach. And I've worked with Barry, through on and off the course. And he knows what he's doing. That is what matters. He's educated about the game. He has the coaching abilities. And that's something that previous coaches were a little shy of, as far as skill level, as far as coaching. But I think the first few weeks that I got to interact with Barry, I was impressed by how much he knew of the game. I mean, I did a little bit of research, Barry, not gonna lie. I read the article and I was like, okay, PGA. We're gonna bond real well. And we did. Bonded over both of us having psychology degrees at college. Yeah. And that's important. That's important in the game, I think, and especially for sports psychology, but getting a little off topic. But working with the men and women's team has been quite a journey that we've had so far. And I can't wait for spring season. I'm waiting for March and hoping for good weather. Yeah. But it's been a joy having Barry on us. So I appreciate you, Barry.
Thank you, Dana. I appreciate you too. I paid her to say all that, by the way, too. So we're good.
Yeah, I just got the transaction. Thanks, Barry.
Right. No, she was so helpful this fall, and it was a tough situation for her as well. Because I mean, it's funny because our first tournament that we went to down in Kentucky at the University of Kentucky golf club down there, we get off the bus and the players are looking at me like, Coach, you haven't even seen me swing a club yet. And I was like, well, no, I haven't. So we're gonna learn a lot about each other here these next few days, and that's kind of how the fall went, and but Dana had that connection with a lot of the players, especially on the women's team. So she really helped me out as far as that goes, getting to know them personality wise, their games. So that was really invaluable to me. I think that the players that we have here now, like, I said earlier, we got to add to the numbers, but the players we have are, they're phenomenal young people. They really are. I've switched positions a couple of times now, and you never know what you're inheriting and what you're getting. It always takes time. AD at IUK said, well, it takes, 2-3 years to really establish your culture and kind of start to build things the way you want. And it's probably true. It takes time to recruit and get the players that you want in. But there's not one player here at Hanover that I probably wouldn't have recruited myself. I mean, they're outstanding young people. They're great students. On both sides, we have pretty strong leadership qualities from the seniors. And we have, great underclassmen coming up, the juniors and sophomores that, the program's in good hands. We just have to be good stewards of it and lead it in the right direction, because it's on a good trajectory. It really is.
So can we take a moment and maybe go around the room, the Zoom window, and maybe introduce ourselves? I mean, Dana and Barry have done a really good job, and Lynn is also, but Dan, where are you from? What's your class? Your class of 95, I see on your name there.
Yep, I went to Madeira High School in Cincinnati. Now I live up in Mason. I was a golfer there, and I graduated in 95.
And you played at Hanover?
Yep.
Very nice. And Matt, we heard a little bit about you. What your class year?
I graduated in '83 and was on the Hanover team that went to NAIA Nationals in 1980. So I played golf all 4 years at Hanover.
Very nice. Courtney, you want to just introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Courtney Richmond. I work in the advancement office as the advancement associate. I send you all the fun alumni emails and all that good stuff.
And as I said in the beginning, I'm the director of alumni relations. So as we go through our coaches corner sessions this year, we're going to try the new Facebook Live that we're on now. So everybody who's watching on Facebook Live, hello. And I want to take this time just to thank Barry for coming on. I had reached out to him. It was probably soon after you started, because I had all of this lined up. And so thank you for jumping into this and really taking the reins and taking over. Does anybody have any questions or more information you'd like to hear from Barry?
I have a question for Matt. Were you here when Sunrise was only 9 holes and not 18?
I think that my freshman year was the first year that it was 18.
Okay.
Because it was still pretty rough.
Yeah.
And they had changed the name of it from Sunrise Falls to just Sunrise at that point.
Okay.
And we also played at Madison Country Club too, because Les Fox would see to that.
Yeah, that's a 9 hole. That's still here. That's still in Madison. Yep. All right. I was just trying to gauge it about what time. So
Barry, let me ask one thing, and this is just coming from my short experience with this, is the kids these days are so talented and they hit the ball so far. And, we joked a lot that they're really talented from the neck down. What are some of the techniques that you use to kind of help the kids with course management and the mental side of the game?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I love the way you said that, because it really is it. It's really talented from the neck down. This very last tournament with the men's team in North Carolina we went to, it was at the Cardinal Club by Pete Dye there in North Carolina. So very tough golf course, and the wind picked up on the second day on us, and so it made it even tougher. So it was a tough couple of days, but after day one, I had a meeting with the team, and I told them it was coming all fall, with them, and with the men especially, not, it definitely pertains to the women as well, but with the men, how we guys are with our egos and thinking we can, do all these great things, hitting shots that have never hit before, because why not try it in the middle of a tournament, but I had a meeting with the guys after the first round and said, look, we really have to get better at, course management, managing our expectations, and really protecting par, playing to par, playing within our abilities. And, I threw the stat out at them that, the difference between a guy that shoots 79, a guy that shoots in the 90s is barely over one birdie a round. So that shows you the whole picture right there, is that the guy that's shooting 79 is making par after par after par with very little big numbers. And that's kind of been our problem, especially with the men's team is, like I said, we have some very talented guys, and they'll be going along great, and par, and then all of a sudden you'll see 7 or 8 or 9 on there, and it's like, what are we doing? What happened? So I think that's it. I think it's the biggest thing is the mental side of it, because they're extremely talented physically. I mean, there's a lot we can do to help them skill wise too, with swing mechanics and things like that. But the biggest challenge is getting them to think differently around the golf course. I had one player at IUK said that's playing scared, coach. Yeah, I said it's not. It's playing smart. And you turn around and you blow up a hole, and you basically derail your whole round. Especially if you got it going pretty good. So I think that's the biggest challenge, really, is the mental side of it. So that's something they're going to be hearing me harp on a lot. It takes a while to get people to kind of change the way they think and look at things, but I think they'll get there. It just takes a little bit of time and see some results. And I'm one I'm always looking, for an advantage and way to kind of teach something or get a message across. So I'll exhaust every option I have at my availability. I mean, there's some good, like Decade Golf, has a lot of the stats and stuff on there too. So you can show players things too, but ultimately you have to kind of teach them how to manage their own expectations and teach them how to play a little bit differently, on the golf course. So that's going to be a huge focus for us moving forward, for sure. I will say I've been super impressed with our tournament schedule. We hosted the tournament at Belterra, and we host 2 pretty big ones in the spring coming up. So we have one at Champions Point and another one at the Donald Ross course down at French Lick, which is a great track. And then we have the Big 4 tournament at Crooked Stick. I mean, it really is. It's a fantastic schedule. So that's pretty exciting. Spring's going to be pretty fun for the players. So yeah, it's going to be good times.
Yeah, you need to share too about your coaching of the Albatross at the Pennsylvania tournament.
You witnessed that, didn't you? That was some great coaching. No, I can't take any credit for that. That was impressive. So one of our players got a hole in one on a par 4, which was pretty interesting. I was standing there with our senior Luke Van Leeuwen, and it was Griffin Reynolds. He's a sophomore, and he was on the hole adjacent. And so I was on the tee box with Luke, and I think it had to be Luke's family or Griffin's family up at the green. They went nuts after he hit his shot, and he was kind of standing there looking around, and Luke looked at me and he was like, he did not just do that, coach. I was like, I think he did. And he was like, he got a hole in one. He went, and he said, he was like, good for him. Like begrudgingly, like, good for him. I kind of felt the same way, because I've, all my years playing, I've never had a hole in one either. And here Griffin is getting one on a par 4. So, they had the tees move up forward, and I mean, he just hit a perfect shot and went in. It was that's a great thing. Yeah, it's exciting.
I will add to that tournament. So Coach Gulley and I sort of switched places because the ladies were on the other tournament or the other course, and the men were on the other. So we switched places so he can be with the women and I could be with the men. I drove my golf cart up to see Griffin, and he's like, Coach Dale, did you hear? I said, what? Well, I got an albatross. And at that point, I didn't know what it was because I myself have never had a hole-in-one or an albatross. And I was like, what is that? Well, I just got a hole-in-one on a par 4. It's like, a par 4? I didn't even know it was possible. And he's like, yeah, this was the greatest moment of my life. So as an assistant coach, I felt just as proud as Barry did, which I give all the credit to Barry. I'm just here. I'm here for tournaments, here for travel, but it's really Coach Gulley's ability to coach. So wanted to add that.
Thank you, Dana. I did nothing on that shot though. That was all Griffin. That was fantastic. Yeah. No, that was that first tournament. That was the one in Kentucky. And talk about hit the ground running. And that's what Dana was saying. She and I were getting to know each other. Me and the players were still getting to know each other. And so, she helped out tremendously because we were, the men were on 118 course and the women were on a different 18-hole course. And the courses weren't really close to each other. And so we were kind of scooting and zipping back and forth all over the place. And, I think we had 13 players all together that day, and you're spread out over acres and acres, miles of a golf course. So if I didn't have her there as well, it would have been, tough. So, but we got through it. And it's one of those things that I think in the long run, even though it's a struggle or a little stressful, I always tell my players that there's always progress in the struggle, and there's some things that, may not seem fun when you're doing it, and actually I had one of the women's players and I had a little bit of a headbutting session in that tournament, and because I hadn't been around for a few holes and she was struggling and got a little upset with me. And so we had to kind of work through that. But that happens, that's that competitive nature. But you learn from that, and you get better and in the end, it can be a good thing if you treat it the right way. So.
I actually have a question for Matt. You mentioned that you graduated in '83, correct?
Correct.
My grandfather graduated, I believe, in '84, and he claimed that he played on the golf team. His name was Gene Kaufman. I don't know if that name rings a bell. I'm just curious.
It doesn't.
That's okay. I didn't know if you'd be like, oh, I know him. Yeah. So just
what was his name again?
Gene Kaufman.
Gene Kaufman. Because I can find that out for you real quick.
I do want to share real quick, if I can, a moment at that Kentucky tournament, because I was a Lambda at Hanover, and I was talking to a couple of the parents while we were watching the groups and found out that a couple of kids were Lambdas. So I walked up, and I think Griffin's one of them, if I'm not mistaken. Walked up to Griffin on a hole and gave him the secret Lambda handshake as he was coming off the hole, and it caught him totally off guard. But then when he realized what it was, and I gave him my Theta Zeta number, it really resonated. It was really a cool moment to be able to share that. And I just said, that you just never know where you're going to cross paths with another Hanover guy.
That's good stuff. Wasn't expecting that from an opposing coach. Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I think Gene, my grandpa was also a Lambda at that point. I just didn't know I think he might be he was in a rush class, I think a little before you or after you, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I found out all of this when I was a kid, so I guess it was kind of cool to. I didn't know that you were a Lambda.
Yeah.
You might,
Yeah,
Dana, you might want to check that year.
I might need to. It
Yeah,
was
because
How
we
do you
got our
spell the last
charter
name?
jerked in '82.
oh, it might have been either 84 or 87.
How do you spell the last name, Dana?
Kaufman?
Yeah.
Kaufman.
Dana, you're making us feel extremely old.
Way back in the 80s. Yeah.
I apologize. I'm so sorry.
I graduated a year ahead of Matt. So, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Lynn, I'm so sorry.
I want you to find out what year your grandfather graduated from Hanover.
Okay.
Maybe, was it like 62 or something? 67? How old are your parents?
My dad is, I think, 65 or 68. I don't really know. And then my mom is in her late 50s now.
Okay, you check
Yeah.
that year.
Yeah.
I
That'd be much older.
Yeah.
sorry if I offended anybody.
It was 11.
Matt was
I
in
wa-
school. Matt was
I
in school with
wasn't-
your great grandpa.
I'm just gonna mute myself now.
Uh,
I'm done.
love it.
Yeah, I think that's a good note to end on, Christy.
Sounds good. I'm flipping through some stuff, Dana. I'll get to you with what I find.
You can just
I pulled up all the Kaufman, so I'll find out. But I'm pretty sure we're in the 60s of the year.
I should not have said anything.
No. It's a good Monday night laugh. It's all good.
I mean, here's another thing to add about my grandpa. He knew that he was a PGA teacher, and he opened his own golf course once he graduated Hanover. And he said, if you ever want to try coaching, you got to take it easy. It's, you can't just jump in head first. You got to put your toe in the water and then see where it goes. And I grew up around the game. So my whole family is golf. Everything is golf. And so using the knowledge that I gained from my family, I tried to impact the players at Hanover, men's and women's. And I guess that's why I became a coach, because I was a little hesitant as far as, juggling the financial side of things as far as where I was living, whether I can juggle a full-time job and also become a coach. And I think that was the main struggle that I had this fall season, because there were a couple times that I had to tell coach, I said, I'm sorry, I can't really make it at this point. And I felt guilty. I really did, because I felt like I was letting him down a little bit, but I knew that he would pull through as a coach. I knew that he would. It's like, never mind. He graduated in 59.
Oh, goodness.
Never mind, Matt. I apologize.
Okay. Hey, Dana.
Sorry.
I was born at the end of 1959. So that gives you some context, okay?
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Thank you.
Good thing you weren't a math major.
No. Math was not on. No. not on my skill
You
level.
found your niche. It's good.
Yeah, that's why I became a psychology, but was not a fan of stats.
Mhm.
Not a fan.
Same. Yeah, Dana did fantastic though. She really did, and you didn't let me down at all. It was you. You were very helpful. Yeah, I think with Dana, the biggest thing is she wants to do the best job possible she can do as the assistant coach. I think at times she may put a little bit of too much pressure on herself. So that's my job moving forward, is to bring her along and let her know, when not to sweat the small stuff, and what things we do focus on and need to really, really prioritize. And there's a lot of stuff that you just, things are out of our control, and things that we can't really, stress too much about. And I think at times it got to you a little bit, overwhelmed you a little bit. So, but she's going to be, once she gets that under control, like, she's going to be fantastic. She really is. Like she said, it's a completely different thing to going from being a player out there on the course, just responsible basically for yourself and your own game and your own score, to now all of a sudden you're over, like that first tournament in Kentucky, we had, 13 players there. We had 8 women there. And so she was, she was worried about every single one of them. And you should, as a coach, you should worry about that, but don't let it get you too upset and stressed, and handle what you can handle in the moment, and then move on to the next thing. And she's going to get it, and she's going to be great. She really is.
That's great advice. I mean, for anyone who literally just graduated a few months ago,
Right.
great advice.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, Courtney, do we have any questions on Facebook Live? Okay. Anybody have any last minute bits of advice or any questions that's looming?
I just want to thank you, Christy and Lynn and Barry and Dana. It was nice to meet you as well. Great event. I really appreciated it.
Yeah. Thank you for being on here, Matt. Appreciate you.
And Barry, thank you. It's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, you as well.
Via Zoom, but
Yeah.
if anyone has any questions about this, feel free to contact me. I'm at hughes@hanover.edu. The live recording of our Coach's Corner will be added to our Coach's Corner website. So anyone who wasn't able to participate tonight will still be able to view this. So again, I want to thank everyone for coming, and Barry and Dana and Lynn taking time out of your night to join us, as well as Courtney. Like I said, we tried our first Facebook Live with this, and it seems to be working well. At one point we had 7 viewers, so it's gonna work out. So anyway, thanks everyone, and
Thank you.
have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.